What's good, you guys? It's your girl Talent Love, and today I'm coming back at you again with another video story time. Yeah, so I've been trying to mix it up on the channel so that way you guys have a variety of stuff until we get in a rhythm and flow of things. But yeah, so if this is your first time here, go ahead and click that glittery thumbs up, glittery pink thumbs up. Give me a glittery pink thumbs up, okay? Because you stuck around this long. Welcome to the family. Welcome to the Glam Squad. Go ahead and drop me a comment down below. Today, what's today's comment gonna be? Go ahead and drop me the pink heart that has the yellow sparkles on it down below so I know it's real. So I know you're a real one. And yeah, we went through. Comment, like, subscribe, yeah, all of that. And follow me on my social media platforms if you haven't. And once you subscribe, it actually enters you in the $100 giveaway. Once we get to 500 subscribers, we are going to go ahead and pick the winner. So make sure you're keeping up with my videos so that way you can keep up on when I pick the winner. So without further ado, we just gonna jump right into the story time. So I know the title says that this is when I found out that I had a twin. This is when I found out I was an Irish twin, okay? I found out I had a brother, okay? And I'm gonna tell you what happened. So, I'm gonna say, okay, as far as I knew, my mom was a foster mother. So I always had, from the time I was 5 years old, I was the only child at first, right? That's how we all start before you get siblings, right? So I was the only child. And at 5 years old, I started being like so lonely because it was like me and my mom all the time. And y'all, I don't know what it was. I just loved being with people back then. So, well, kids. So my mom used to have a daycare that was like inside of her house or whatever. She ran her own business or whatever. She was a daycare provider. So with that being said, the kids used to come and go and we used to have such a good time, whatever. And I used to have like really, like, I don't know, listen, I had really like attachment issues. I don't know what you call it, abandonment issues since I was like 5 years old, okay? Like if my mom had like a kid that was like at the daycare for years, like maybe 2-3 years, and then like they grew up or they didn't come anymore, I would like cry so bad about it. Like I remember one time one of my friends left and I was like 6 years old. I don't even know how I was comprehending that much emotion at 6 years old, but I remember it was this girl. And I'm still cool with her to this day. Shout out to you because you just followed me on Twitter. I can't really say your name so I don't want to put people's name out there. But she knows who she is. She had a little sister. And they left or whatever. And when I tell you, I cried so bad. I cried so bad, y'all. I just remember laying on my mom and I cried for like a whole hour straight. And she kept asking me like after 20 minutes, are you okay? And I'm like, no, because I knew I was gonna be lonely all over again and I have no friends to play with because I was like, you know, it was either school and they used to like kind of tease me at school because I was like bigger and I was in a grade up from me for half the day, I think it was. And so because of that, like I didn't really like fit in. I was like best friends with the teacher all the time. Like the teacher always loved me or whatever, and that was that. So anyway, that's how I just was before. Yeah. So anyway, this is how life goes on. It's just me, my mama, and then my cousins when they came around. We were like kind of like 3 peas in a pod. Now how me and my cousins are stacked, we're all 2 years apart each. I don't know how this happened, but this is how it happened. So I'm the youngest of the girls, and then there's my other cousin, and then there's a cousin after that, and then a cousin after that. So everybody's 2 years apart. But I was like very sheltered, and I was very sensitive and emotional. So I was always like, since I was the youngest, it was like a big gap between me and the other one, which was the 4th one up. So yeah, it was always like a big gap, and then they always wanted to hang out with her and do cool stuff, but obviously I was too young to be hanging out with her doing all the stuff, which changed later. But anyway, so yeah, I still like felt alone. So anyway, one day I'm like 10 years old and my mom like comes downstairs and she's like, hey, you know, your daddy's gonna come. He wants to take you on a trip to New Jersey. Do you want to go to New Jersey to see your sisters? Because my dad had kids, and so I always had like two stepsisters, which I hate calling them that, but I always had two stepsisters. And yeah, so my dad had other kids from his previous marriage too that weren't biologically his, but the two stepsisters were biologically his. So there was those two. So she was like, do you want to go to New Jersey and go see your family and your aunt and, you know, whatever, like my dad's sister and all of that. And I'm like, all right, you know, whatever, cool, it's my dad, why not? So my dad picks me up first, and then we're like going down the road or whatever, and I lived in Alexandria, Virginia at the time. So we're going down the road, and he was like, we gotta make a stop to like DC when we're going north. And I was like, why are we stopping in DC? And I was like, oh, okay, no big deal. So it was my dad's girlfriend was driving at the time, very nice woman. So yeah, so we're on the way there, and my dad's like, yeah, you know, we're gonna go pick up your brother and blah blah blah. And I'm like, brother? I have a brother? And he's like, yeah. So it wasn't really registering then that I had a brother. Okay, I just remember we went and we picked him up, and I just remember we were like kind of observing each other. I actually think we might have been 8 years old, not 10. I don't know, let's just say we were between 8 and 10. I want to say it was 8 because we were so young. Like, no, I definitely wasn't in the 5th grade because I was 10. Okay, so I had to be like 7 or 8. And I think that he was still younger than me because it was the winter time. Had his birthday passed? Nope, we were the same exact age then. So yeah. So we get him, and I don't go inside, so I didn't meet his mom or anything like that. He comes out, and this kid looks just like me. And it was so weird. So we were both like little chubby kids at the time. And I remember like him sitting down, and he was just like, what's up? In the back of the car. And I'm like, what's up? And I remember us being like so like happy and infatuated with each other. Like as far as like, you know, like being in shock. Like, oh my God, I have a sibling. They look like me. So yeah. So I remember that. So I remember like we got along instantly. I think we got in one argument on the trip, and that's when I realized how protective my dad was over me. And yeah, so we had got an argument, and I think we were just like playing in the back seat, and my brother, I said something, and my brother was like, shut up. And my dad reached back and popped him. So facts about my brother. So I was born in 89, and he was born in 90. Okay, so I was born in September of 89, and he was born in March of 90. Okay, my dad, he was a free spirit. He was flapping nose. What? Okay, that's how that happened. So yes, he's named after my daddy. And yeah, so this is just the first encounter. We're getting out the way. So we go on a trip, we have a ball. It was a lot of stuff that happened. My dad's girlfriend was like spoiling us. Like I came back with so many shoes, clothes. She fed us good. Like we had so much fun. I got to meet my gram and poppy, which was my stepsister's gram and poppy, but you know, that made them ours too or whatever. So I just got like spoiled the whole time because my sister hadn't seen me in a long time, and my sister's older than me. She's grown. She's like pretty much, no, she was a teenager, like late teens, like 16, 17 then. So yeah, long story short, we had a ball. Boom. That was the last time I saw my brother, you guys. So I'm not even gonna lie to you, because I was so young, I honestly forgot I had a brother. So I found out I had a brother. We went on a whole trip together, got acquainted, we had a ball, we didn't keep in touch. I forgot about him. I don't know how, I just did. So long story short, like he was just never really spoken of again. I don't, like I could imagine why, but I don't know why, because you know, awkward situations, you know, that we were born at the same time, whatever. So yeah. So years and years and years and years and years and years go by. I'm living my life. Things are happening. We did a big move when I was 10. I switched schools and I had to do my 6th grade year in a whole nother, in the same county but a different school with different people that weren't my friends that I had all the way through elementary school. So I had to do my last year elementary with people that I was just meeting, and it sucked real bad. So that happens. Then I go to middle school. That happens, and then I meet, you know, I meet some friends, this, that, and third, whoop, 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 whoop. So I get in the 9th grade, that happens, and then I go to the 10th grade. So when I get to 10th grade, the summer of my 8th grade year, I met my best friend. Okay, so I met my best friend in the whole wide world, summer 8th grade year. So anyway, we get to 10th grade, right? And my dad calls my mom and he's like, yeah, I'm on my way to visit, blah, 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 blah. And my mom's like, I'm not home, call your child. So he calls me and he's like, yeah, I'm coming to visit and I have a surprise for you. And I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah. So okay, there was a knock at the door, right? And I look out, like outside the window to make sure it's safe or whatever, because, you know, the knock was aggressive. And I see my dad and I see this man that looks, well, not a man, like teenager, 16 years old. Yeah, because that's how old I was in 10th grade. 15. So I look out and I see about like a teenage boy, and I'm like, he's so nice looking. He looks so similar to me-ish. Who's that boy? So I'm thinking in my mind like, oh, he's a cousin, or I didn't think that he was my brother, because remember, I had forgotten I had a brother. So my dad opens up the door and he's like, hey, and I'm like, hey. Look at my brother, I'm like, I'm Portia, nice to meet you. And he's like, and my brother's so cute, you guys. He got this accent. Okay, so he was raised half and half, like his life in DC and South Carolina. So if you know anything about people from DC, they have like this heavy accent, okay? Like not even Wale's accent like clearly depicts the accent of a DC person's accent. But, and then he has a lisp. So he was just like, what's up, sis? And I'm like, sis, like, and my dad's like, yeah, that's your brother. And I was like, oh my gosh, oh yeah. And then I remember he started coming back and I was like, I have a brother. Oh my gosh. So my dad steps outside and I think he's like taking a call or something, and my brother and I are doing the same thing over again like we did when we were 10. We're like sitting on separate couches staring at each other, like he's looking at me like, oh my gosh, this is a human being I'm related to, oh my gosh. And he said that he was thinking the same things that I was thinking. I was like, he's so handsome, look at my little brother. And he's like, oh, my sister's so beautiful, and blah, blah, blah. So we're like trying to catch up with each other and like not be too invasive, but yeah. So anyway, by the end of the conversation, I was just like, yeah, like, why don't you just stay? And it was summertime. So my dad's like, he's like, well, let me ask dad. And I was like, all right, cool. So he asked my dad, and my dad was like, sure. Did you ask your mom? And I was like, my mom's not gonna care, because my mom, she's not petty at all. So I was like, okay. So he stayed the entire summer, and that started a whole tradition for us. So he started coming every single summer, and he would stay the whole summer with us. Now let me tell y'all, okay? Let me tell y'all the stuff that started to occur. Number one, my brother was with the shits. It only took me a second to find out. Anything we was with, he was with. Any prank we was trying to do, because we had like different people that lived in the house with us, and we used to do, you know, practical jokes and stuff like that. And you know, occasionally we would take a night walk out to the store or whatever, late, and it'd be like too late, but we just walk to the store and come back. We wouldn't do nothing else. So my brother was with the shits, long story short. So that, it was kind of like having an instant brother in crime, okay? Like we were inseparable, we were together all the time. Like we, oh my gosh, I was like, no, he's not sleeping on a couch, he's sleeping in my room. Like that was my brother, that was my baby, okay? So anyway, even though we're like only a couple months apart, which makes us Irish twins. In my mind, it was like an instant. I turned into an instant like mama bear, big sister over him, period. So y'all, let me tell y'all. Okay, so he's like I said, he looks pretty much like me, very similar. And now I think now he has a shortcut. I'm not sure, I haven't seen him in a while. But back then he had like, you know, waves and curly hair. He and I are the only one of my dad's kids, or the only two of my dad's kids that have the curly hair. So I started introducing him to my friends or whatever, and I remember we were catching a bus to go to this place called the Teen Center, and the Teen Center used to pop, y'all, okay? It used to pop, let me tell you. So it was like the rec center kind of during the weekday or whatever, like on the evenings during the weekday, during the summer, and then on the weekend, on Saturday, it turned into a club, like a teen club. They would have the lights dim, the party be going or whatever, but they had little chaperones walking around. But we used to be getting it in. Like, I used to just like chill. I was a dancer, but I was never really one for like killing stuff at the parties. It took me years before I had my first dance. So like dancing on a guy. Anyway, so yeah. And that's the Virgo in me. He's a Pisces, like my mom. I'm a Virgo. So anyway, we're like, I remember the first time we sat down on the bench or whatever, and we were waiting on the bus, and he just kept doing this weird thing. Like every time we'd go somewhere, he'd look at the person and be like, oh, hi, how's your day today? Yeah. And like look at them, and every time, y'all, they'd be like, or they'll be like, fine, put their headphones in. And so after the third time, he was like, yo, what's wrong with them around here? I'm like, they don't want to talk to you, dude. Like, that's not how we are up here. Like, okay, so Virginia's technically the South, okay, period. But we're the furthest end of the South, like furthest end before we start getting into, you know, DC, and then start going to the northern states, like, you know, New York and stuff like that, Delaware, Pennsylvania, all that. And we're not that friendly. The further you go north, the less friendly folks are. And like I said, remember, South, okay? So South Carolina, excuse me. So he was just like, what the heck? So I remember being like, dude, he's such a weirdo. Why did you stop speaking to people? You're embarrassing me, like, stop. So there was that. So anyway, you guys, so I started introducing him to my friends or whatever, and I hung out with some guys or whatever, but I mostly hung out with girls. And we used to do like, we wasn't doing like planning makeup and hair. We wasn't doing that. We was like doing stuff like bad stuff, like boy stuff. Anybody could do the stuff we was doing, okay? We wasn't yeah. So anyway, when I introduced him to my friends, stuff started happening, okay? Most of them was liking on him. Then he got to liking one of them, and I was like, oh, no, 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 baby. And that's the story time for, that's 2, 3, that's 3 story times for 3 different days. One of them I'm not really gonna tell, but the other 2, baby, oh no, I was not having that, okay? Like, I don't know what it was. As soon as I seen it happen, I was like, period, no. Because you know what happens when you're in your teenage years. Folks want to sneak over other people's houses, and then they get to doing a dude, and it, like, you're not about to be freaking on my brother, period. That's just like how a guy is if they have, you know, a sister that's a year or 2 younger than them. The dude's not fucking on fucking on my brother. Like, you're not doing it. So that created a conflict, but honestly not really with my brother for the most part. Only one girl, he was like gung-ho, like trying to shut it down, but everybody else, he was just kind of like, big sis said us no, so whatever. Because my thing was, go find your own chickadees. Don't be coming around with you know, trying to get one. My friend, like, no, you're not. And then for my friends, I'm like, you're not about to be fucking on my brother, period. Like, that's a no-go. That's a no. And I still kind of feel like that to this day, but I'm a little less protective for other reasons. But yeah, So anyway, there was that dilemma that had came and went. So anyway, you guys, so him and my best friend really started crushing on each other, and she used to chase him down. Like, she was so obsessed with him or whatever. I'm not sure if I mentioned, but he's a junior, like he's named after my daddy. So she used to just be like, oh my god, he's so sexy, he's so dreamy. And I used to joke with her because her brother had the same name as my brother, ironically. And we're just gonna say for now their names are John. And I'd be like, if you take John and get with John, then you owe me a John. And she'd be like, all right, cool. So anyway, long story short, I never got with her brother. He was like a little bit too young for me at the time. But yeah, so anyway, she was just like dreamily obsessed with him, like so obsessed with him. So anyway, prom comes up or whatever, or maybe it's homecoming. I can't remember. It's homecoming in 11th or I think it's either 10th or 11th grade. I want to say it's 11th grade. No, it's senior. Okay, so senior prom comes. I get confused, you guys, because my best friend went to every homecoming and every prom with me, okay? But the senior year, my brother went. So I was like, oh, I get 2 extra tickets. And I want to take my brother and my best friend. And I already had my date as well. So I was like, y'all 2 go together, and then me and my boo won't go together. And it was like, okay, cool. So we, you know, took our pictures or whatever. But, and unfortunately, those are the only pictures. Well, unfortunately, but fortunately, those are the pictures that I found or whatever. So I'm gonna insert them. And yeah, also I want to say that shout out to my mom for not being a bitter baby mama, because of her, I was able to have these memories of prom that I could, or homecoming, whichever one it was, riding in the limo, living it up, living my best life with my baby bro. And you know, all these memories that I could gush over, they wouldn't have been able to happen without my mom, you know, being a real one. So shout out to you, mom. And yeah, you guys, I was looking at the pictures and I was getting so nostalgic, because I know that like it's more like common for people to gush like about their, I don't know, mother on Mother's Day, their dad on Dad's Day, and then like their significant other. But me, I gush over my friends. You'll see it all over my social media, period, poo. I gush over my favorite auntie. I gush over my family members, okay? And I gush over my brothers and sisters. And I really love my brother. So when I was looking at the pictures or whatever, it just reminded me like of like how happy I was that day. And I just remember taking a picture in front of my auntie Ben's, thinking I was really doing something with my little bro. And I was just like, oh, take a picture with my baby. Sis, you always showing out. I'm starting to think you a hater. Anyway, but yeah, I just remember being so happy or whatever. So I'm gonna insert those pictures. Or whatever. So right now, as I know of, my brother, he's not really a social media person. So my sister stays in the South or whatever, and I'm gonna go and see her at the end of June. So he frequents around there sometimes. So if I get a hold of him, I will get him on camera and try to do a brother sister tag with him or something like that. We'll try to do some video. He's a lot of fun, and he's like really sweet, like my daddy. They're pretty much a sucker for me to do whatever. So if not though, y'all will see my sister or my nephew or somebody. Y'all will see somebody in that house. But yeah, I'll try to get my brother on camera. But until then, all I have is these pictures from us from when we had one of our special moments together and we went to prom. And yeah, so I'll insert learned those. And yeah, so that's the end of the story time. That is the time I found out that I was a twin, and it was pretty damn cool because I always wanted to be what's that movie, the Lindsay Lohan movie? That I always wanted to be like that. We gotta figure out what that movie is. The Parent Trap. So yeah, I always wanted to be like the Parent Trap, and in a sense I kind of was, except for he was my boy twin and he was an Irish twin, you know, a hood Parent Trap. But we made the best of it, and it was pretty much brother sister love at first sight. So if you're watching this, brother, I still love you to death. You are my #1 twin, and you always will be. So you guys, I love you guys so much. This is the end of the story time. If you have any crazy stories like that, like me, drop it down below, because you know, I'm always watching my favorite YouTubers and stuff like that, and one of them said something I thought was so crazy, and I was like, I would have never thought. So yeah, everybody's life is different. Everybody have different stories. So if you have a story like that where you met your long lost twin, or I don't know, anything crazy, drop it down in the comments or whatever. Let's talk about it. If you want to hear some other story times or anything like that, or you have any other video ideas for me, I know you guys want some makeup, and we're gonna do that. But until next time, I love you guys so much. Stay fresh and stay fierce.